just like seeing her for the first time.
The atmosphere in the squad room remained heavy after the earlier scuffle. The tension lingered like a cloud of smoke, and the silence was broken only by the faint sound of shuffling feet. One of the women, Hung Wei, finally spoke up, telling the man on the floor to keep talking to the leader if he wished, because she was leaving. Her tone was flat, almost detached, as if she had already lost interest in the pointless quarrel. Before she left, the man named Ian called out after her, asking her to at least leave some money with him so he could buy drinks. But Hong Wei didn't even slow her steps. Without turning back, she said coldly that she had no money and walked away, watching her leave. Ian sighed bitterly and muttered that this team was downright depressing. So poor, they didn't even have enough for alcohol. His eyes drifted toward Hanjin, and with a mocking laugh, he asked if the newcomer really intended to stay in such a hopeless squad. Hanjin's expression didn't waver. Calmly, he said that as long as he remained here, any problem would be only temporary. But Ian wasn't convinced. He leaned back, shaking his head, and said that Hanjin was just overestimating himself. He explained that their team was ranked dead last among all Guardian squads in Deep Blue City when it came to points. And in just 2 months, when the year ended, the organization would hold its dismissal meeting. At that meeting, the squads with the worst performance would be disbanded, and their members reassigned to the lower district. Ian's tone grew grim as he described it. The lower district was chaotic, filthy, and utterly degraded. Survival there was harsh and cruel. He warned Hanjun that if he didn't want to die in such a place, then he should leave quickly while he still had the chance. But Hanjun saw through it immediately. He realized that Jan and others like him wanted to push him into danger, sending him away to the lower district so that he'd be eliminated without them lifting a finger. His eyes narrowed, but his voice remained steady as he replied that their scheme would not succeed. At this point, Shui also voiced her doubts. She said that insisting on staying in this squad was just a waste of time. But Hanjin's answer was firm. He said that running away from problems only made a person accustomed to cowardice. True strength could only be gained by facing obstacles head-on. If they left this squad to join another ZHUO, and his allies would not leave them alone anyway. Instead, Hanjin believed it was better to stay, to change this broken team, and to raise it into the #1 squad in Deep Blue City. By doing so, they would also put an end to ZHUO's plots once and for all, determined. Hanjun then approached Hong Yinghui, but she was reluctant and unwilling to talk. She sat in silence, arms folded, her eyes cold and distant. Hanjun broke the silence, asking her how long she planned to just sit there waiting for death. He even asked whether he should call her Hong Yingwar Bi Shuang. The mention of that name made her snap her head toward him. Shock flickered in her gaze as she demanded to know who exactly he was and how he knew such a thing. Hanjun didn't hesitate. He formally introduced himself, explaining that what she saw was just a small transformation of his abilities. But Hong Yinggui's face hardened again. She said that if he thought he could use this knowledge to threaten her, he had better give up now. Hanjun only shook his head and instead extended an invitation. He told her to join him in carrying out tasks, insisting that deep down, she didn't really want to give up. If she cooperated with him, he promised it would be worth it. For a moment, she studied him carefully. She realized that this man could see through her lies and hesitation, which was unusual. In the end, she thought that trying to work with him once wouldn't hurt. So, with a quiet nod, she agreed. Hanjun then laid out the plan. She would be responsible for gathering the tasks, while he would make the selections. Hong Yingwei accepted, and said that there were currently 3 tasks suitable for their group. She passed the details to him, asking him to take a look. Hanjun reviewed them and frowned. Each task was difficult, with very few points attached. He wondered aloud how long it would take them to surpass the other squads at this pace. Then, with clear resolve, he said that if they were going to move forward, they should take on the task with the highest points. Hong Yinggui's eyes widened, and she immediately rejected the idea. She said it wasn't advisable at all, warning that such a task would require a group of at least 6 to 8 people. Hanjun admitted he knew this, but he argued that only such high-level tasks would give them the points they desperately needed. She called him crazy. If they failed, she reminded him, they would suffer a 50% penalty to their already meager points. But Hanjun didn't flinch. He told her plainly that he would take full responsibility for whatever problems arose. Hong Ying sighed in frustration. Finally, she agreed to go along, but in her heart, she thought that in the end, she would be the one carrying their dead bodies. When the mission went wrong, meanwhile, far away, another Guardian group was busy handling a battlefield cleanup. The devastation was immense, and they couldn't manage the task alone. They were forced to rely on collaboration with another group. Their leader, however, was cautious. He ordered some of his members to guard the entrance to the sewers, making sure no one would try to take the mission for themselves. A little later, Hanjun arrived with his small group. The air was thick with the smell of blood and scorched earth. Hong Yinghui quickly warned him about the potential dangers of this area, urging him to be careful. But Hanjun only gave her a calm look. With Shay by his side, he ran forward, leaving Hong Yinghui behind, and told her to wait there. He promised they would return soon. Hong Yinghui stared after them in disbelief. She muttered that completing this task would already be nearly impossible, with a large grouplet, alone with just 2 people. Frustration churned inside her chest, and finally she couldn't hold back. She decided she wouldn't just let this go. If she did nothing, she believed something terrible would happen. Against her earlier hesitation, she ran after them, defying the orders of the other group's leader. Her instincts screamed that her presence was necessary. By the time she reached them, there was a slight delay. But when she finally approached, the scene before her stunned her. Hanjun turned toward her calmly, his eyes steady, and said that everything had already been taken care of. She seized the lifeless bodies of Zergs, scattered across the ground, their twisted forms evidence of a violent battle. Shock runs through her veins. She cannot believe that the protagonist, Hanjun, was the one who single-handedly took them all down. For her, the sight is unbelievable, yet the calm expression on his face makes it clear. Hanjun simply brushes off the astonishment, stating that the mission is complete, and that all that remains is to collect the valuable materials from the Zerg corpses. He also points to another body lying nearby. Fallen Manand explains that this must have been a missing guardian. With little emotion, he tells Hong Yinghui that she can take care of the corpse, leaving it in her hands, while she is still lost in thought. Wondering how Hanjun managed to do all of this by himself, another Guardian group approaches. They arrive at the battlefield sometime later, only to find the enemies already lying dead on the ground. What's more, all the corpses have already been stripped of their resources. Realization dawns on them: not only have the Zergs been slain, but even their treasure has been completely collected. Yet, none of them know who carried out this incredible feat. Meanwhile, inside Ziachuo's room, troubling news arrives. His informant delivers the report that Hanjun's group has already completed 2 missions and earned a significant number of points. Upon hearing this, Zhuo explodes with fury. His anger falls upon his assistant, who suffers the brunt of his rage. To Zhuo, Hanjun is no longer a minor hindrance, especially now that he has found a sponsor backing him. Determined to crush him, Zhuo quickly gives a command. He orders his assistant to go immediately and inform all the other squads to seize every available mission in Blue City, leaving none behind for Hanjun's team. Back at home, Hanjun's master sits with him and speaks gently. He says that he has heard about the boy's troubles with Xiao Wu and asks if Hanjun needs any assistance. But Hanjun politely thanks him and declines the offer, saying he will handle it himself. Xiao Wu admits that what worries him more are the deeper problems inside the Guardians organization itself. He explains that, while the Guardians carry the name of protectors of the city, they have, in truth, done little to truly safeguard it. The master agrees, saying that when an organization grows large, it inevitably becomes plagued with internal problems. Over time, corruption spreads, and their strength rots away from within. He says that the Guardians are now decayed beyond cure, and what they need is a fire, something that can reignite their purpose. That is why, the master explains, Xiaohu was chosen. He compares it to fire itself, a blaze that can burn away dead leaves and dispel the darkness. But just as easily it can be extinguished in a single moment. Later, Hanjun confesses to his master that recently, he has been unable to progress to the next stage of the 8 deadly fists technique. He admits that he is stuck and asks what he should do to overcome this barrier. The master looks at him and gives him a simple but profound answer. If Hanjun wants to break through the 8 deadly points, he must engrave 4 words into his heart between life and death. That night, after a satisfying meal, Hanjun thinks he will finally have a chance to rest properly. But just as he is about to relax, Shui suddenly appears and shyly asks if she can sleep in his room for the night. Surprised, Hanjun points out that the house is large and spacious, and questions why she would want to sleep specifically in his room. Shui replies with a small pout, saying that the master locked all the other doors, awkward and unsure of what to do. Hanjun eventually agrees, insisting that he will sleep on the floor while she can have the bed. However, Shui refuses this arrangement and insists that Hanjun should take the bed. He hesitates, asking if that is really a good idea, but after much persistence from her, the two end up lying side by side, sharing the same bed. The following morning, Hanjun wakes up refreshed. Just like the day before, he tells himself that he must find good missions to complete. But as soon as he steps into the meeting room of his group, he comes face to face with Hong Yingui and Yan. The two have already discovered his true identity, and wasted no time coming straight to his house. Yingui speaks first. She admits that last time, she misjudged him. She thought he had only used personal connections to join the group and didn't realize how powerful he truly was. She bows her head and offers him an apology. She adds that now that the authorities have sent such a genius to protect the city, it doesn't matter what happened in the past. Sooner or later, she believes Hanjun will prove to be useful. But Yan takes a different stance. He says that Hanjun is far too aggressive, even daring to offend Zhuo. This reckless behavior could make their lives harder, potentially leading to demotions or even worse consequences. Then Hong Yingui explains the current situation. For some mysterious reason, every single available mission in Blue City has already been taken, leaving absolutely nothing for their team. Hearing this, Hanjun calmly asks whether there are missions available in other cities. Hong Yingui is caught off guard, realizing she hadn't even thought of that. Without wasting time, Hangun checks the mission board for Kongui City. Sure enough, he finds available missions listed there. But as he looks at the information, he frowns, realizing that he doesn't quite understand the details. Hong Yingui steps in to explain. She says that while it's true they can take on missions in other cities, it also means they will need to physically travel to those cities in order to complete them.